Calafiori to Arsenal, here we go. We finally have the here we go we've been waiting for. It has come from Fabrizio Romano. David Onstein reported about it earlier. We'll go through his as well. This is what Fabrizio's had to say. Riccardo Calafiori to Arsenal, here we go. Bologna and Arsenal have started to exchange documents right now, all sorted also between Bologna and Basel. Calafiori will sign 5-year deal, no option for no option, I think extended option for 4 million per season net. Medical in the USA and deal done and story confirmed. It is finally done. We have waited a long time for this one to get done. It is finally done. People have been asking, are we going to be hijacked or anything like that? No, this deal was obviously going to happen. It has taken a bit longer because of Bologna and Basel and Arsenal trying to agree a deal with Bologna, and then Roma jumping in on that as well. But finally, it is done. We finally have our listen, it's the third signing, but in terms of really exciting signings, it's the first real exciting signing because Rayo's already an Arsenal player, and on top of that, you can say that Sedford is not like that exciting. But this guy Calafiori, this is the first exciting signing that you made this transfer window, and you finally have a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. We have waited a long time for this one. We've talked about Calafiori a long time. The deal has turned out to be more complicated than we thought it was going to be. But we finally have the player, and we have a player who has been linked to a lot of teams. He's been linked to, Juventus tried to hijack him last minute. Real Madrid tried to hijack him. This is a player who was wanted by Leverkusen, by Chelsea, by PSG, a lot of teams, by Chelsea as well. This is a player that has been wanted by a lot of teams, and he's picked us over those teams, so that is absolutely exciting. Watching him at the Euros in the first game, I never thought Arsenal were going to be linked to him, but we've been actually linked to him, and we've ended up getting the player. Arteta really, really wanted this player. The board, a couple of people in the board are not sure about the player, but the Arteta himself wanted the player, and he's gotten him. So well done to him, convincing him to join Arsenal, because he could easily have said, listen, let me go to Leverkusen. There's an exciting project there as well. He could easily have said, let me go to Chelsea. There's an exciting project there. New manager, let me try and go there. They have an Italian manager. Let me go and work under Maresca. He could easily have said, you know what, let me go to PSG, or let me go to Real Madrid. There's a lot of teams that he could have gone to. Riccardo Calafiori for sure, but it chose Arsenal, and I'm absolutely excited by this deal, man. I'm over the moon because of many reasons. The fact that he's only going to cost us around 45 million euros, and we're actually paying 40 million upfront and then 5 million in add-ons. That is a bargain for a player like Calafiori. If he had stayed at Bologna in the next couple of years, he would have cost around 70, 80 million. Who would have known? So for us to get him for that kind of price, it's absolutely exciting. On top of that, we are going to pay him way less than 100,000 per week. That is superb. Again, in the next 2 years, this is a player who could be paid 150,000. If he comes to Arsenal and hits the ground running right away, we could end up paying him, adding him his contract or changing his contract, giving him a new contract, and end up paying him double what he's getting right now. So that is that exciting part about that. We've talked about his qualities before, the way he can attack, the way he can defend. It's basically a combination of what we have with Zinchenko and Kivio. Zinchenko is great going forward, passing in between the lines, controlling possession, all that. Kivio is good at defending. Some people say not the best, but he's good at defending, not the best in terms of attacking. Tomias is good in man-marking, defending and all that, but not the best attacking. Now, with Calafiori, we're getting that combined, like all three of those combined. We're getting a player who can intercept, he can man-mark, he can tackle, there's a lot of qualities. In fact, these are the qualities that Calafiori has, as reported by Who Scored. The ball interception is great, the aerial duels are great, the passing is great, the tackling is great. Weaknesses, no significant weaknesses as of now. We can argue injuries, but we'll see how that one goes. But having a player who's good at all that, super exciting. And that's just three of them are like basically defensive part of his game, like the tackling, the aerial duels, and the ball interceptions. Really, really exciting. And now that's not the only thing he can bring to the team. He can also bring attacking ability. As after Joe said, Riccardo Calafiori generated more shots following carries than any other centre-back in Europe's Big Five leagues last season. 4 shots and 10 chances created. So he can create you chances as well. And in terms of the number of chances he created last season and how many goals, how many assists he had last season, a lot of them. Like, he had such an exciting season. Here it is. He had the assists, 5 assists, chances created 14 from a centre-back, remember? Passing accuracy on top, aerial duels on top, aerial duel success on on top, interceptions on top. So we are really getting an exciting signing here, and I cannot wait for him to get started, man. It was looking like we wouldn't have a new signing for the USA tour, but we actually will have. He's not going to play tomorrow morning in the next couple of hours against Bournemouth. Obviously, he will travel to the USA to undergo his medical, and then the deal will be confirmed, and then hopefully we can see a glimpse of him against Man United or Liverpool in Philadelphia after that. But absolutely excited by this deal. It is finally done. We've waited a long time. It reminds me of the Declan Rice deal. We first had to, did we want him? Yes. Then we had to wait a couple of days to see whether we are going to go for him. We actually went for him. We were told a lot of teams want him. We ended up being the favorites to sign him. We literally went through every single step. The step of contacting them, and then agreeing personal terms, and then beating the other teams to his personal terms, and then making an offer, and then discussing the terms with Bologna, and then having to wait for Bologna and Basel to do all the deals, agreeing all the sell-on clauses and all that. And we finally got the man that we wanted. And next season is going to be exciting, man. The difference that we already had with Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White last season, the three that were always there, we were able to just concede 29 goals, less than 30 goals. And you can argue those 29 goals that we conceded, we could easily have conceded like 20. A couple of mistakes, a couple of last-minute goals conceded after we've already been comfortable in the game. But these four in the same team, you throw in Calafiori, because at left back, we were using a lot of different players. At left back, we were using Kivio sometimes, used Zinchenko sometimes, used Tomiyasu sometimes. Like, it was all over the place in terms of left back. Like, we didn't really have anyone to play there every single game. Like Gabriel and Saliba played all 38 games last season, every single minute. And Gabriel, apart from at the beginning of the season when he was on the bench, he literally played every single minute as well. And for Ben White is always a regular, apart from I think a couple of games where he picked up an injury this season. But we know White is always going to start, Saliba is always going to start, Gabriel is always going to start. At left back, we weren't really sure, but now with Calafiori, he has an opportunity to come into this team, a team that this Arsenal team, I don't think it's easy to come to this team and actually play every single day. I don't think it is easy, because even if you come in as a number 10, I don't think you're going to bench Odegaard. I don't think that is going to happen. If you come to this team right now, I don't think you're going to bench Saliba. It's not going to happen. Even if you come to this team as an incredible left winger, you can argue Martinelli and Trossard are good as well. If you come in as a central midfielder, you're not going to bench Declan Rice. So you cannot suggest if you come to this Arsenal team, you're definitely going to play. Apart from a couple of positions, and one of those positions is left back. There wasn't anyone who had really, taken that position by the scruff of the neck and made it their own at all. No one had yet, because Zinchenko, I still think Zinchenko is going to be an next season, but not as a starter. He could end up being moved into midfield. Who knows? Tomiyasu, injury prone, a lot of injuries here and there. Maybe if he was maybe if he was fully fit, you'd have had that position as his own. Tierney is still an Arsenal player, but you expect him to be sold. And for Kivio, he's still an Arsenal player, but he could easily be sold. Now, we are talking about these four defenders, and we haven't even talked about another defender that we bought for 50 million last season. Remember Timber? Timber is very good. Timber is a very good footballer as well. So we are talking about these four, and you also have Timber to play. And then who else will be there? Tomiyasu and potentially Zinchenko as well. I mean, come on, even if you don't like Zinchenko, even if you don't like Kivio, even if you don't like those guys, this defense compared to what we had 7 years ago, let's be honest, man. 7 years ago, as I always say, we had Socrates, Mustafi. Not even 7 years ago. Let's go back to 2020. Yeah, not even that long ago, 4 years ago. The time we had Niles and Bellerin competing at right back, and then we had Kolasinac at left back, and then we had centre backs of Chambers, Holding, Socrates, Mustafi. Come on, man. Compare those 7 defenders to what we have right now. Zinchenko is better than all of those defenders I've mentioned. Calafiori is definitely better than all of those defenders I've mentioned. Gabriel and Saliba miles clear of those defenders that I've mentioned. So it's very, very exciting. Now, that is in the defensive side of the game. I'd like to rewatch every single goal that we considered last season again to see where the goals came from. I know 5, 6, 7 of them were basically mistakes against Nottingham, both home and away, against Wolves at home. Those are just mistakes that we made. You could easily have considered 20 goals or something. Now, if you throw in Calafiori there, who's also going to bring this kind of abilities to the team, someone who's strong in ball interceptions, aerial duels, passing and tackling as well. on top of what we already have with Gabriel and Saliba and Ben White, and then you throw in Tomiyasu and you throw in Timber as well, and then Zinchenko in terms of an attacking point of view, we have such a strong defense. I don't think there's anyone who has a better defense than this as of now. Not even in England, in the world. I don't think there's anyone who has such a strong defense like we do right now. It's crazy. We've never had a defense like this. We'd have to go back to the 90s, you know. Yes, I know Campbell, Toure, Ashley Cole, and Lauren are good, but we weren't really like keeping a bunch of clean sheets. We'd have to go back to the 1-0 Arsenal days, you know, with Adams and Keown and Steve Bold around there as well, and Winterburn and Lee Dixon. Those were the days that we had a very, very strong defense and you would keep clean sheets every single time. Now, the balance is crazy. Now, let's say you add Gyökeres to this team. Jesus Christ. Like you'd have a team that can concede less than 20 goals, and on top of that, they can score a bunch of goals. You don't usually get both of them. You can usually get a team that can score, I don't know, 1 goal per game and they keep clean sheets. Fine. You can get teams that can do that. But you get a team that, and you can also get a team that can, you know, concede a lot of goals, but they score a lot of goals. So they win a lot of 4-3s, 5-4s, like Liverpool back in 2013, 2014. Suarez and Sturridge are scoring a lot of goals, but they were conceding a lot of goals. Or 6-3s, 6-4s there. And then sometimes you find a team that is not conceding goals, but they're only winning 1-0. Now, if we bring Calafiori to this Arsenal team, we could easily have a team that can score 4 or 5 goals every game and also keep clean sheets every game. That is very scary. I'm an Arsenal fan and I'm scared. I'm scared of that potential, man. So Calafiori, this is an exciting signing. We finally have a here we go. We've waited. I've always been confident about this one. If you go back to the videos I did 3 weeks ago, I said I'm 99% confident this is going to happen. The moment you hear the player wants to join Arsenal, the moment you hear Arteta's talk to him, Edu has talked to him, I'm usually like, okay, this player is going to join Arsenal. Even though he was really wanted by a lot of teams, we still got him. That is super exciting. At first, I thought many people thought he was going to stay in Italy and join Juventus instead. A lot of players have decided to join there from Fiorentina, and those are the guys, players that we've wanted before, like Locatelli and Vlahovic. They decided to go to Juventus. But with Calafiori, he's decided to join Arsenal. And even before joining Arsenal, there was a lot of other teams that were linked to him, Real Madrid included, and Juventus. They were trying to hijack him last minute. Chelsea were there, PSG were there, Leverkusen, all those teams are really good teams that you can go to. All of them are trying to get him, but he's stuck with Arsenal. And the best part about everything is the words that he said a week ago: please let me fulfill my dream. Please let me go to Arsenal. I want to go to Arsenal. This was the message. Absolutely amazing, man. Absolutely exciting that he wants to join Arsenal. So there's a lot of positives with this deal. I'd struggle to pick up a negative apart from the few injuries that he's had. But if he comes to Arsenal and he doesn't really pick up any injuries, everything is a positive. From how much you're buying him for, less than 50 million, how much in terms of wages you're going to pay him, less than 100,000 a week. The age, 22 years of age, perfect. He signed a 5-year contract. If he can be here for the next 3-4 years, and all of these other defenders can be here for that time as well, we can create such a solid backline. Because also them, remember Raya as well, we now finally have a goalkeeper we can call our number 1 goalkeeper without having to change things around. If they can all create a relationship there, the 5 of them plus Timber plus anyone else who's there, and then in front of them the likes of Declan Rice, we can build a very, very physical team there that can, hold on and keep clean sheets for a long period of time. And on top of that, he's very good at aerial duels. We are a team that scores a lot of set pieces with Gabriel and Saliba and those guys. Last season, Ben White scored a few goals as well. Saliba scored a couple as well. Gabriel has always scores goals. Havertz was scoring headers. Rice was taking some immense set pieces. Same with Saka. Now, imagine adding Calafiori there, who's very good in terms of aerial duels. We could have a season where we score, again, more than 20 set pieces next season. Again, very exciting in terms of attacking potential. We have a player who can carry the ball and drive us forward. Declan Rice can do that. Now, we have another player who can do that on the left side. He can carry the ball for us and drive forward and, attack and create chances and assist and score goals. That would be great as well. And a lot of people have said, and I agree with them, Calafiori probably makes Martinelli better again on that left side, because on the right side we do have Odegaard and Saka and Ben White, who do very, very well. They have such a good combination. And if you add Saliba on that right side as well as a right centre back, we have such a good element on that side. Like, the connection is great. Saka sometimes comes to the middle, Ben White overlaps, Odegaard puts a through pass, White crosses, we score a goal. That has happened a lot of times last season. Those three, every time those three are on the pitch at the same time, it's great. Like to the point of if Ben White is playing poorly, you could easily see Saka playing poorly. Like they have such a connection. And the moment you came back from Dubai last season and Ben White started playing well, right away, Odegaard started playing well again, and Saka started scoring his goals and creating chances and playing well as well. On the left side, we didn't really have a balance. We were changing things around a lot. Kivio was playing sometimes, Zinchenko was playing sometimes. You know, we had Tomiyasu playing sometimes, coming on, and then the left wing, Martinelli sometimes, Trossard sometimes, Nelson sometimes, Jesus sometimes. Like we were changing things around. We never really had, like, you know, back in the day we had Ashley Cole and Perez, and we had Ljungberg and Lauren like playing together every single time, and they were used to it. Henry was on the left side as well. They were used to that. We had a time where we had even Xhaka, Martinelli, that time they had a good understanding. Now we can finally have that understanding as well. Whoever plays, whether it's Trossard or Martinelli, they'll know that Calafiori is behind them always. They can have a connection. They'll know, okay, Calafiori is going to carry the ball to here and here. He's going to do this. I'm going to cover for him. I can let him overlap me. We can put in those crosses because we've been really used to inverted players with Zinchenko on that side. I think Calafiori can still do a bit of inverting, but again, that's another positive. He can do inverting and he can also do the overlapping. We have Kivio, who at first didn't really know how to do any of them really because he was a centre back. But from January to May, Kivio was overlapping really, really well, and he was getting chances and scoring goals last season at the end of last season. Zinchenko inverts. He doesn't really overlap and put in crosses, inverts. Now we have a Calafiori who can do both of them. He will now be able to, you know, attack on the left side, go beyond Martinelli and Trossard, whipping across, sometimes carry the ball all by himself. And if you you screen for him, like in basketball, if you screen for him and, you know, he just runs with the ball and passes everyone else, he can create a chance from the byline. He can invert and basically become an extra midfielder for you. That is what I think we're going to do next season, especially if we sign a striker. I think that is what is going to happen next season. We're going to have a scenario where we have 3 defenders at the time, and then 2 midfielders, and then 3 in front of them, and then a front 2 of Havertz and the new striker. And then you still have Saka on the pitch, you still have Trossard or Martinelli on the pitch, and you still have Odegaard on the pitch. I think Calafiori would be the one going into midfield. And if Jorginho is there as well, I'd like to see their combination. I think Jorginho has done incredible work as well, I'm sure, in terms of convincing Calafiori to join Arsenal. And this is a big one. Don't let anyone tell you no one knows about Calafiori, whoever this is not a good signing. No, this is an exciting signing for a lot of reasons. Just to recap it again, out of the top of my head, without reading anywhere or whatever, wages, I think 70,000 or something per week. That is a bargain. Let's be honest. That is a massive bargain. Less than 100,000 for a young player like this, incredible. We've signed him for less than 50 million, 40 million plus 5 million in add-ons. That is in euros. If you take it to pounds, it's like 33 million pounds. That is a massive bargain. The fact that he can attack and also defend, he's very strong at a lot of aspects of the game, as we've gone through already. On top of that, you know, he has pictures where he was wearing Arsenal kits and he's talking about, I really want to play for Arsenal, let me fulfill my dream. Even more perfect. We want players who really want to play for Arsenal and they're excited to join the project. We want players like that, for sure. We had a good relationship with Bologna. We've gotten another player from them. If this was hijacked, this would have killed Arsenal fans, because this was one that I was 100% sure you're going to get. If you didn't get him, I don't know what I would have said. So I know Paul said when it carries over for too long, it becomes boring. But when it carries over for too long and then you finally get him, it's more exciting, because this is a player who was wanted by a lot of teams. So that is the seventh thing. The fact that he was wanted by all of those teams and you've ended up getting him, exciting. 3 years ago, 2020, 2021, around there, we would get players that are not linked to anyone. If I remember correctly, I don't think Pablo Mario was wanted by too many teams. I don't think anyone wanted Cedric the time we signed him, for example. And a couple of others, Lokonga. I don't think there was too many players that wanted teams that wanted Lokonga or Tavares. Right now, we are getting players that were wanted by other teams. Declan Rice was wanted by Man City. Havertz was wanted by Bayern Munich. Raya was wanted by Bayern Munich. And now Calafiori was wanted by like 6-7 teams. And it's not like he was wanted by Brighton and Osasuna and I don't know, Braga from Portugal. No. This Calafiori guy was wanted by Chelsea, by PSG, by Leverkusen, by Madrid last minute, by Juventus last minute, and he still chose us. Absolutely exciting, man. I cannot wait for him to get started. I'd like to see him starting. I'd like to see during preseason. I'd like to see him playing as a left back and also as a centre back as well. I think Gabriel is coming back tomorrow, so I don't think he'll be ready yet though, because Calafiori has been training for a week or something. So if you can have Calafiori, obviously it's the time for experimenting. If you can have Calafiori being tried out as a left back and also as a centre back, just to see how he does in both of those positions, it would be exciting. Same as Fabio Vieira, for example. I want to see him being tried at right wing and also as a backup for Odegaard during this preseason. But once again, if you're just joining, Fabrizio Romano has just confirmed that it's a here we go for Calafiori. He will be undergoing his medical in the USA. Deal done and story confirmed. The saga is finally over. The saga with Arsenal and Bologna and Basel and Roma, that is finally over. And also shout out to David Ornstein. He also reported about it earlier today. If I can get it. David Ornstein, this is what David Ornstein said earlier today. All agreements now in place for Riccardo Calafiori to join Arsenal from Bologna. 22-year-old defender still needs to do a medical plus sign, but deal essentially done. If everything goes to plan, aim is for Italy International to link up with Arsenal on USA tour. So we are playing our first game early today. We'll have a match reaction for that. We gotta sleep early to wake up for that one. It's going to be in the next 6 hours. Arsenal is playing in the next 6 hours against Bournemouth, so excited to see that. Arsenal is finally back. We played the other day, but we couldn't watch it because it wasn't televised. But we can finally watch Arsenal back in action today early against Bournemouth, and then after that, Man United and Liverpool. So maybe we'll get to see Calafiori against Man United. It's going to take a bit longer before we see this defense together. You guys remember when you signed Declan Rice and we were waiting to see Declan Rice, Partey, and Odegaard together? I think we only saw it like 3 times last season. Partey, Rice, and Odegaard together. We had to wait a long time before we saw them together in the Premier League. I think it's going to be the same with these 4. I don't think you're going to see them anytime soon together because, bro, Saliba is on holiday. I just saw him posting pictures like 3 hours ago. He's not coming back anytime soon. Ben White is there. Ben White has been looking sharp. Timber is there. He's been looking sharp as well. And Gabriel and Saliba as well, always sharp. Now, the thing with this defense that we have right now you can't go on holiday for too long. I think Saliba being on holiday right now, it'd be like, Jesus Christ, I need to go back. Calafiori is there, Timber is there, Gabriel is there. They can just have 2-3 games, phenomenal games together, and then I'll go back there and be a bench player. You never know, So Timber is still there. I want to see how Timber and Calafiori will play together before the likes of Saliba come back. Tomias is injured, unfortunately. I would love to see him there as well. Zinchenko is there. I don't think he's going to be sold, so let's see where he's going to be used. I prefer now Zinchenko to be used as a midfielder because you have several players to play at the back. If you throw in Zinchenko as an extra midfielder, that would be exciting as well. So I'm super happy, man. We finally got a signing done. 24th of July. We've waited a long time this time around. I think by last season we already had 3 signings, but it was different last season. There was no Copa America and Euros and all that, but we already, in the USA, we already had Rice and Rice, Havertz, and Timber traveled to the USA last season to get to the rest of the team. This time around, Calafiori will be traveling by himself, as confirmed by Fabrizio. The medical will be done, and then we'll finally have him as an Arsenal player. Let me tell you another thing that usually takes time. Announcing the player. Arsenal will take another 2 weeks before they announce the player. So he'll even play for us before he's announced as an Arsenal player. But hey, as long as we've gotten a here we go, as long as we've gotten an exclusive from David Ornstein is an Arsenal player, that is all that matters. We're getting a really good player. Once again, remind you of how good he is. If you look at the his potential in terms of assists, chances created last season, passing accuracy, aerial duel success, interceptions, that is really good. That is a mixture of attacking ability and defensive ability, really, really good. And then this in terms of his strengths from who scored, ball interceptions, aerial duels, passing, tackling, all that is very strong in his game as well. And they've also said no significant weaknesses. And then as Opta Joe said, he is very strong in terms of ball carrying, basically picking up the ball and carrying it forward, just like Declan Rice does it. And this guy does it from center back. Absolutely amazing. Last season, it led to 4 shots and 10 chances created. Now, those stats are him playing for Bologna. Now, remember, I don't watch Bologna every day, but I don't think Bologna keep possession as much as Arsenal and stuff like that. I don't think they could have games where they concede 0 shots on target like we did last season. So in our team, he basically has even more freedom as well. He can have the ball. He can show us more of his passing ability, as they've said he's strong in that. His ball carrying ability can show us a lot of that as well next season. The ball possession, the control of the game, he can show us a lot of that. When defensive work comes up, I hope he can do the defensive part of that as well. We know that he's strong in terms of that as well. As we've seen, as we've heard, as we've read from Bologna fans and all the experts from Italy, he's a very, very good player in terms of that. So let's see how he does next season. I think this is a very exciting signing, man. I cannot wait for him to get started. Whichever position he's going to play, expecting him to play at left back, it's exciting either way. So if he was able to lead Bologna to the Champions League, I'm hoping he can do the same with Arsenal next season, and he can be the missing piece in terms of our puzzle, the final piece to sort out our puzzle to cover that 2-point gap. Exciting, man. Last season, our defense was incredible. It's not just that we conceded less than 30 goals. As I always say, no disrespect to the other teams, but there were some games last season. I don't remember which teams, but even Liverpool, even the time we played Liverpool, even the time we were playing, I think, Newcastle at home, those games that are usually tough, those teams would try and attack us, and I'd be on my phone because I'd be like, yeah, they're not going to score. Like, I just know they're not going to score. So I'm just on my phone. I just know nothing is going to happen from that. Declan Rice is there, Pat is there. And then if you pass those two, we have a strong defense. And now we have Calafiori as a new signing, and Timber almost as a new signing as well, because Timber played 2 games for us last season, the first game and the last game. So we've basically added 2 good defenders to what we had last season, Timber and Calafiori. So that defense that we had of keeping 2 clean sheets against Man City, conceding no shots against Haaland, and keeping several clean sheets in a row, home and away, breaking records, conceding less than 30 goals, basically conceding only from our mistakes. That defense, we've added Timber, and now we've added Calafiori. Super exciting, man. So Calafiori to Arsenal, here we go. Let me take a few of your comments. Let's see. Arimite says, wow. Baba Well says, boom, finally, man, finally. Lloyd says, after the Euros defeat, Spalletti told his young team to move to other leagues to gain footballing experience. And Calafiori is the first of many. He's going to be great for Martinelli. Can't wait. Yeah, you're right. Spalletti, he had a poor tournament with Italy, but we already know how good he is from his Napoli days. So good advice. Sometimes it's good to test yourself out. I usually say the Spanish players love staying in Spain, and the Italian players prefer to move from Bologna to Juventus or move from a Sampdoria to an Inter Milan. Most of those players do that. Even in Spain, a lot of players move from Betis to Atletico Madrid, or they move from Getafe to Barcelona, or they move from Sociedad to Real Madrid. They love making those moves and staying at home. It's good to test yourself out, even with other players like Kane. Now he's moved to Bayern Munich. He still hasn't won anything, but he's going to test himself out somewhere different. And Calafiori as well. Join a different league, out of your comfort zone. It says a lot about your character as well at 22 years of age, moving away from your home to go and try something. Because he could easily have said, you know what, let me stay at Bologna for one more season. He would play in the Champions League still. You'd get paid enough money as well. And then, you know what, next season, maybe another team wants him, maybe an Inter Milan or Madrid wants him. So salute him for joining us right away. Kazi, thank you for being here. We can start having seasons where we concede less than 30 goals. I don't know why the hell you're not a mod here anyway. Can I? Yeah. So we already had a season where we conceded less than 30 goals. And now with a team like this, we can have more of that. Remember, you can also add to our midfield. And Atta is obsessed with obviously the duels and stuff. Now imagine if we throw in Rice is there as well, and Merino joins this team. Crazy, man. So that's why I agree with you guys. So I look at this team, I'm like, there's nowhere too much that we can improve apart from that striker position. If you get a striker, you don't even have to sign anyone next season. You can even just go with this team for the next 2 seasons without signing anyone and just save the money. So it is fantastic, man. Musa says, great news. Who is next, Glenn? I think Merino is next. You're going to talk about him. Calafiori will allow us to rotate much more than Man City. Yeah, as we always say, because Man City have Akanji, they have Ake, they have Walker, they have Stones, Diaz, Lewis. Like they have a lot of different options. Gvardiol as well. Man City could have a game where they start Gvardiol, Akanji, Diaz, and Walker. Next game, you cannot predict it. They could have Ake at left back. They could have Gvardiol at left back. They even had another guy called Sergio Gomez who could play at left back. They could even have Lewis at left back. They could change and have a back three with Stones in midfield. Like they could change a lot of things. So I'm hoping we can also do the same. Last season, Arteta said, okay, didn't say it, but a lot of people said we didn't really rotate because we didn't have a quality players on the bench. He didn't really trust a lot of people on the bench. Next season, I want to see us rotating because we'll have a lot of quality players in the team. You know, defensively, you have like now 7-8 defenders there that are really good. I wanted Kivia to stay, especially if you're not getting 25 plus a million. I want Kivia to stay. If Kivio can stay, then that defense is absolutely solid. Like you can rotate a lot more. Saliba played 38 games last season. I don't want him to play 38 games again. You know, he's now played for France all the way to the semi-final. Have a rest. Come 3 games, then you have a rest, and then you play 3-4 games. Defensively and goalkeeping wise as well. Teams usually have the same goalkeeper and the same defenders all the time. Fair enough, but in our situation where we have a lot of competitions, just like Man City, and you're trying to this time not get eliminated from the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup early, you can rotate. Like you can have a squad in the Carabao Cup against Millwall where we have Tomiyasu, Timber, Ben White, and Zinchenko. That is your Carabao Cup team. You know how far we've come. I remember our Carabao Cup teams back in 2010 when we had 16-year-olds playing. Akpom and Forbe and Martinez was there, he was young, those kind of players. We had Ramsey, the 16-year-old, Wilshere, Alia Dier. I remember those players that we had playing in our Carabao Cup games and then we'd lose. Park Chuyong. Now we can have a team of this kind of players in the Carabao Cup. There's no reason why we can't go further in that competition as well. And that is just the first signing, by the way. We still have other signings that we've been told that we're definitely going to sign a striker and a midfielder. Super. And another thing, we are going to add another goalkeeper on top of that as well. Goalkeepers always have to come to Arsenal for sure. Imagine if you have we could have allowed us to have 2 goalkeepers at the same time on the pitch. John says, yes, join finally. I will be happy. I'll be a happy man if Victor Gyökeres joins us, says I'm golden. Bloody hell, I just saw your comment, cause let me send you the link on X if you want to join. Let's see. Kazim says, good evening, Gunners for Life. This is good news. Ajayi says, good evening. I'm from Nigeria. This is good news. For sure. Fantastic news. My fear was 2 things. I've come here for the last 1 month and said he's definitely going to join Arsenal. Don't worry. And then number 2, imagine if he was hijacked by someone like a Man United coming last minute and bugging him. What would you have told people, man? Imagine if they actually got him. I would have cried, man. Imagine if they actually got Calafiori ahead of us after we've talked about him all this time. But one thing I've learned is I trust Arteta and I do. And when it comes to talking to players, whenever we hear that we've agreed personal terms, I'm usually like, it doesn't matter who comes in for him, whether it's Real Madrid or Man City, the player is going to join Arsenal. So in terms of talking to the player, I think we convince players very well. So even Merino, he could easily stay in Spain. But if Merino joins Arsenal, it means it's that phone call that has made him join Arsenal. So I've sent you the link because Gabriel says, good evening. Please update me on Victor Gyökeres. We'll talk about that as well. See, just finalize on Calafiori. Let's get the welcome to Arsenal Calafiori, by the way. I've not seen one person saying welcome to Arsenal Calafiori. Move on to the next target immediately. We ain't got no time to waste, says Elias. Banana Comedian says a real confirmed deal. Arsenal new signing, Calafiori, Merino, Gyökeres, Chiesa. Okay, those are too many players. They're not going to sign 6-7 players. We don't need 6-7 players. We only need like 3 players. 4 or 5 years ago, we needed a lot of players because we were trying to transition from Lacazette and Aubameyang. We were trying to transition from Ozil. Our defense was not good enough. We needed defenders in every single position. We were not good in terms of goalkeepers. Right now, we've now signed 3 goalkeepers. We don't need to sign any more goalkeepers. Defensively now, I think we are solid.